Go ahead, John.
Hey, good afternoon. How is everybody?
Doing great.
Doing great, thank you.
Good. Hey, this is Maryland at 7 o'clock. We've got, I think, most everybody's name down that dialed in. So 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order for Monday, May the 4th. And at this time, we will rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, Edward Burks will lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to freely discuss our city's business tonight at this electronic meeting. We ask that you lead, guide, and direct us to always consider what is in the best interest of our city. Be with each of our city employees and keep them safe as they perform their daily jobs. And help us to navigate through this COVID-19 crisis and emerge as a stronger city and nation. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Before we get started, obviously we're allowed to do this through the Executive Order 16 that was signed by Governor Bill Lee. It states that the governing body can hold this meeting electronically. It's necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. So I wanted to say that. They've asked us to do that before we have these meetings. This meeting is being recorded. It will be on our website tomorrow morning, and the press has been notified, and I think Brandon's on the call as well. So you were mailed your agendas. You had all that information at this time. Let me remind you that everything will be a roll call vote based on that Executive Order number 16. And at this time, Scott Ball will call the roll to determine if we have a quorum. Scott?
Good afternoon, everyone. James Baltimore. Edward Burks.
Present.
Coach Cole.
Present.
Megan Gilbert.
Here.
Mayor Holden. Here. Ricky Hammond.
Here.
Mary Claire Hopper.
Here.
Dennis Moody.
Here.
And Vanetta Webb.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. We will proceed.
All right, thanks, Scott. Next item on the agenda will be the approval of minutes from our meeting held on April 20th, 2020. I entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
This is Vanetta. I'll move.
I have a motion from
Second.
Vanetta to approve the minutes. A second.
Coach Cole, second.
Coach Cole, second. Scott, you call the roll to approve. Or any discussion about the minutes? Okay, Scott, you call the roll to approve the minutes.
James Baltimore. Edward Burks.
Yes.
Coach Cole.
Yes.
Megan Gilbert.
Yes.
Mayor Holden.
Yes.
Ricky Hammond.
Yes.
Mary Claire Hopper.
Yes.
Dennis Moody.
Yes.
Vanetta Webb.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Okay. Under new business, number 7, item A, public hearing, ordinance number BB 699, an ordinance amending Dyersburg municipal zoning map by rezoning property located on Community Park Road, CM Partners, Dyersburg LLC, former Dyersburg Church of God property, from planned business district to R2, medium density residential district. And that was in your packet along with the notices in the paper. We called for this notice of a public hearing at the last board meeting. And I think Thomas sent out a correction today on, what was it, Thomas? Thomas is here with us.
It was a typo in section 1. I highlighted it in yellow for you to see. All the document was correct, just had one typo in it.
Okay. So this is a public hearing. I would open it up for discussion.
Mayor, this is Neil Chatham. I had a couple questions.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a resident of Ward Drive, which is would be the street that would be parallel to the new subdivision. And just for some of us that live on that street, I do live on the inside of Ward Drive. I'm not one of them that my neighbor across the street would be just, but they would back up to whatever property that would be. And I've talked with our Alderman and a couple other the people on the board. We were concerned about two things. One, are these homes going to be built and sold for single families rather than rented? Because that would be important to strengthening our neighborhood and community. It's a great community to live in over there. You used to live over there at one time when I first moved there. We would be concerned about more traffic, and we might have to have a speed bump or something. So we're concerned about that. Make sure it's something that just enhances that part of our community because it's a great place to live. And the second one would be, though, for the people living on the side of Ward that would be connecting to that is the way the water drains, and that property sits up a little higher because their yards flood all the time. Tonight, I think Noah was spotted out in our neighborhood. But, the way the water drains down through there, and there are some man-made things that people have done, I think, that have complicated that. But it's just the natural flow. All that water, it backs up into their yards and gets in their storage buildings and their garages and things like that. So just wanted to get those two concerns out for discussion, just to make sure, if this is done, and we're not against progress or anything. If it's done, it's just done right, and something that will be better for our community.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Thomas to address that, okay?
Mr. Chatham,
okay.
So we've got a couple of issues there. We'll discuss each one of them. The property is currently a mixed zone. Currently it is PB, which is planned business, which is the same commercial zone that you see around the bypass. And then it splits with R2, which is a medium density residential. Medium density residential would consist of single family dwellings, duplexes, apartments, pretty much any type of living type dwelling. Currently, they could use it for several issues. Being that it's PB zone, they could use it for a commercial use. If the board votes today to rezone it to the R2 medium density, of course that would limit it to only residential use. The second issue that you had was the drainage. I will tell you this, I don't actually do the drainage, but I will assure you that when the owner who is on this conference call, one of the owners is on this conference call, when they submit their plans to the city of Dyersburg, it will come with engineering drawings, designs. Our city engineer will review those design drawings and with a thought of making sure that whatever they create doesn't impact you in a negative way or impact the neighborhood in a negative way as far as drainage. So hopefully we won't increase any of the drainage. It's always better to think that maybe we could improve it, but that's not a guarantee. So I hope I answered your question. Mr. Craig Barron, one of the owners of the development, is on this conference call. If he would like to speak to your concern, I think it would be a good time for him to speak, if that'd be okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Craig?
And Thomas, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank y'all for the opportunity. Thank y'all for the opportunity to speak. First, the concern about stormwater, as I was mentioned, of course, any development that we did would have to be, all stormwater would have to be self-contained. Would not increase any runoff on existing properties. Just as Tom Hughes mentioned, have to go in front of the Planning Commission. All that would have to be approved by the Planning Commission, city engineer. so it wouldn't be any impact. The zoning that we're asking for is the same zoning that Ward and Clifton are currently zoned. So we're just, trying to extend that zoning over. Same style houses, same restrictions that are not restrictions, but lot width, lot size requirements, same as you have already over there.
I would like to mention the original plan was, if I'm not mistaken, Craig, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the original plan was 34 lots. I do believe that that's going to be reduced to 30 lots with the intentions of using the excess land for water detention retention. Would that be correct?
That's correct, Thomas. Right now, we have a 30-lot preliminary subdivision plat submitted to the City Planning Commission. And it's 30 lots even with a cul-de-sac and detention at the end of it. And any engineer drawings obviously have to be approved by the city engineer and staff.
Hello, this is Lanita Click. I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I do live on Ward Drive, and my house does. The back of it is on the outside of it. Where can we see where streets would go and where backyards of properties would go, and so we can see how that drainage would be? Because right now my total backyard is flooded because someone was allowed to build a 60 by 40 foot shed and cut off the drainage ditch for water to run out of my property. So where could we see how the property would run, and streets and roads and ditches?
Well, that will be submitted to the Planning Commission when we get those drawings finished. It will be recorded as part of the public record, the subdivision plat will. Now, there's actually a small gap between the west side of the subdivision and the east side of the CM Partners property. The existing subdivision has on the west line a 30-foot, I believe it's 30-foot drainage easement. Don't quote me on that, but it's either 25 or 30-foot drainage easement on the west side. And in my opinion, a lot of the drainage issues because that's been built in, filled up, and has not been maintained. We'll be self-contained inside our subdivision. We'll have underground storm drainage to collect all of our stormwater and detention pond.
Lanita, did that answer your question?
Yes, I believe so. So what you're saying is that won't be available until after the board votes on this rezoning.
That's correct. The first step, we went to the Planning Commission. They appeared before the Planning Commission at the last Planning Commission meeting last month, and the Planning Commission voted to approve the rezoning, which calls for the notice of public hearing, the notice to be put in the paper, and then the hearing tonight before the Board of Mayor and Alderman. But it was approved at the Planning Commission.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
No,
Craig,
Craig.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask Craig, from what I understand, though, they are homes that y'all are going to sell. Is that correct?
That's right. Today, that's our intention, and that's our intention right now. I can't say if we'll build all of them and sell them. Who knows what the market will dictate? We may not. Just whatever the market dictates is what we'll do. And whatever we can't do anything that the current zoning doesn't allow.
Neil, did that answer your question?
I guess. But your intention, though, I mean, it's not like you're building a rental neighborhood. The goal is to build in houses that would be sold to families or individuals that would just be their primary home. That was just some of us is concerned, because that strengthens and builds up a neighborhood.
Sure. I agree with that. That it does kind of change the outlook of it, but yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to sign a contract to sell all 30 of them tomorrow.
Hey, this is Mayor Holt. I've got a question for Thomas. I think, Thomas, when you were answering Neil's question, you mentioned the zoning would be compatible with what's out there already. Can you tell us what can be built in that zone?
Okay. If we rezone it to an R2, of course, the owner could elect, the owner today or the owner tomorrow could elect to build single-family dwellings. They could elect to build duplexes. They could elect to build apartments. It sounds to me like Mr. Barron is speaking of building single families, but once again, when the board votes tonight, they can't vote on anything specific to be built there. They have to vote on what could be built there. So pretty much any type of residential, of course, single wides would not be allowed, of course, but single family dwellings, duplexes, apartments, things of that nature could be built there, yes.
Thomas, this is Edward Burks. What's the minimum square footage living area in that zoning?
Okay, as far as the minimum lot size?
Well, I was talking about, do we know yet what the minimum house size, residence size would be?
Well, no, sir, and we can't dictate the minimum square footage of the home. What we do is the lot size. So for single families, it would be a minimum of 7,500 square feet per lot. But we can't dictate on what square footage the home would have to be.
Okay. And will there be any restrictions in the covenants for this new subdivision that will, Craig, that will have what the minimum size will be, or have y'all gotten that far yet?
Mr. Edward, we have not gotten that far. Okay. Right now, just our intention is to just mirror what's already there. It's a nice, clean subdivision. Those streets are well kept, nice, clean subdivision, and we're just trying to copy the same thing. It works.
Okay,
there.
This is it. This is Edward again. Now, all we're doing tonight is just voting on the rezoning from planned business, which could have a business with a lot of asphalt parking, concrete parking or something, but you still have to contain the runoff. All we're doing tonight is just voting to change it to an R2 medium density residential area, correct?
That's right now the property is actually, go ahead. Right now the property is actually zoned, a portion of it is PB, a portion of it is R2, and we're just asking to remove the commercial element of it, change it all to residential to match what's there already to the east.
Okay.
Hey, this is Neil Chamigan. We're not against that, Craig. I would encourage, I hope you would build something that would mirror our neighborhood, because it's, for 20 years for me, it's been a great place to live and raise my family, the kids, and a lot of other people do that, and a lot of people retire there. So if you can do that, you will do good.
Absolutely, and like I say, that's 100%. That's completely our intent to do that. I mean, that's and like I say, we want to sell every one of them.
Okay, any other questions of Craig or of Thomas? So if this were to pass tonight by the board, the next step would be to bring the drawings and all the applicable paperwork back to the Planning Commission for them to review, the city engineer, the fire department, codes, all those folks to review that for detention, for runoff, for proper size of lots and streets and everything like that. So that would be the next step if this were to be approved tonight, and that would be possibly at the next Planning Commission meeting. And we have a pre-Planning Commission meeting this Thursday at 10 o'clock, and then the next Planning Commission meeting will be a week from this Thursday to approve the drawings and all the engineered aspects of that if it's available and if it's ready.
Mayor, this is Craig. Can I speak on where it will, I'm assuming, be 2 or 3 months before we are able to submit engineering drawings. So
Okay.
we're not trying to break ground as soon as the preliminary plat has been submitted to the Planning Commission, but it'll, like you said, it'll be a little bit before engineer drawings are ready. I appreciate the neighbors calling tonight, speaking on behalf. Says a lot for that community, and we're no way going to try to do anything just to keep it going like it is.
Thank you, Craig. I think you've heard the concerns of the neighbors out there with that neighborhood, Clifton
Yes,
Ward,
sir.
and those houses are extremely nice houses. I lived out there for a number of years on the corner of Community Park and Clifton Road. It is still a great neighborhood. I know those neighbors out there want it to continue to be a great neighborhood, and I hope if this passes tonight that you and your partners or whoever that is keeps that in mind and continues to build that area up because it is a focal point of our community close to the fairgrounds and the church and things like that. And we certainly do want houses built and improvements made, but obviously I understand what the homeowners are saying too and their concerns, and I appreciate them listening tonight and calling in and asking questions.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, so this is a public hearing. With no other comments or questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the rezoning of this property located on Community Park Road to R2 medium density residential.
Mayor, this is Dennis Moody. All right, second, Moody.
Okay, have a motion to approve the rezoning from Vanetta Webb, a second from Dennis Moody. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I'm glad that the neighborhood, some of the neighbors called in. I think this is great that they can do that instead of having to come down to the meeting. I believe most of their questions have been answered, and I know we were checking on some other stuff earlier today. But I think this will be a good addition there. I'm glad that they're going to go to R2 and they don't have just a service station or some other kind of business right at their back doors. So I think this will be good for the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Mr. Recorder, will you call the roll, please?
James Baltimore. Edward Burke.
Yes.
Coach Cole.
Yes.
Megan Gilbert.
Yes.
Mayor Holden.
Yes.
Ricky Hammond.
Yes.
Mary Claire Hopper.
Yes.
Dennis Moody.
Yes.
Vanetta Webb.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 0504 2020, Governor's Local Government Support Grant Application for Funding and Uses Certification. That was sent out in your agenda as well, and I think Scott has sent an email or two to the Alderman about this, and this is the money that the governor put in his budget. Originally it was $100 million he put in the budget to assist the cities and counties, and then he amended that to $200 million, and our portion of that is close to $400,000, $393,000, and we wanted to get this to Nashville as quickly as possible. Funding is not available after July 1 of 2020, but I think that was sent out in your packet. Any questions about this, or anybody want to talk about what we're doing or what we want to do or like to do possibly? Very rarely do we get a chance to get money from Nashville and not have to pay a portion of it back. So we are thankful for that from the governor and the legislature up there. Any questions at all?
Mayor Holden, this is Vanetta. I think we exchanged a little bit of correspondence about this, but were there limits or specific requirements that the state wanted from us to be for the grant money to be approved?
Well, they areas, and I think that's on the first page of the grant information that you were sent. IT, hardware upgrades, road projects, capital maintenance, public safety, utility system upgrades, and COVID-19 response. So in talking with department heads and other employees and folks, obviously we try to take into account the needs of as many of people as we could, and at the bottom of page 1 is listed the uses of those state grant funds to do some things that really badly need to be done, and that's all listed there. You can read that. Remodel the exterior of City Hall facade and improvements here at City Hall, and the elevator here, ADA standards to address that, and those things like that, which are capital outlay monies that we can utilize for that. So these projects check the box of road projects, capital maintenance, and public safety, quite honestly.
Okay.
Any questions? And the parking lot improvement is at the activity center, the main parking lot on Shelby Drive, adjacent to the CID Annex, which is the old senior citizens building that we now own as a result of the senior citizens group no longer being an active service club in our community. The deed said it reverts back to the city of Dyersburg if that club ceases to exist. So we acquired that probably about a year and a half ago, and it's been sitting empty. And it's a good building, and we want to make sure we use that. Any questions? Anything else about that? Okay, hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve this resolution for the governor's local government support grant.
So moved. This is Mary Claire. Second, Mary Claire Hopper.
Okay, was that Coach Cole?
Yes, it was.
Oh, Hammond. Okay, Ricky Hammond with the motion, and Mary Claire Hopper with the second. Any more discussion? All right, Mr. Recorder, I'll ask you to call the roll.
James Baltimore. Edward Burke.
Yes.
Coach Cole.
Yes.
Megan Gilbert.
Yes.
Mayor Holden.
Yes.
Ricky Hammond.
Yes.
Mary Claire.
Yes.
Dennis Moody.
Yes.
Vanetta Webb.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Next item on agenda, bids. Greg Williams, there are no bids tonight. I'll move on to report from Alderman. Mr. Baltimore is not with us, so Edward Burks, you're up.
Okay, no report other than hopefully maybe by our next meeting we can be face-to-face again, maybe with masks on, but at least see each other. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Coach Cole?
Yes, is Mr. Mullins still online?
He is, yes, sir.
This is a question to you, Mr. Mullins. Where are we with the removal of the grains off of over here by us? Have we had any more action on it?
Yes, sir. They're actually, I have not seen it with my own eyes, but I got an email, I believe it was this morning. Supposedly they contracted a contractor to come out and remove those, all those bags that are still piled up out there. I believe they've got the majority of the grain gone now. There's still a large amount up under a canopy that they're working on, but they actually have a representative working with us now trying to get all that cleaned up. I think they've made significant progress out there, but they still got a little bit to go. They're actually cleaning up the granary across the road as well. But hopefully here in a very short period of time, they'll have those bags gone.
Well, why I was concerned, I was out there the other day and some farmers made mention that their lease on that land was up in June. That's what they were telling me. So that's why I was wondering where we
The
were.
lease on the land, the lease on the land there across from Public Works?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Right. I can't say with certainty, but I don't think that's going to be used for that type of occupancy any longer after it's cleaned up.
All right. Well, thank you.
All righty. Have a good day.
Anything else, Coach Cole?
No, sir. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Megan?
I think everything that I've been spoke to about has been addressed. I guess my only question is maybe about our next Parks and Recreation meeting, since we typically meet after the first meeting when we might meet, but otherwise nothing to report.
Was the question, when's the next Park and Recreation Committee meeting?
Yeah, it's mainly for Ricky. Nothing else.
We can have one online like this, or we can wait till we can meet in person to do it, whatever the committee desires.
Mayor, I think this is Ricky Hammond. I think we wait till we can meet in person.
Okay. All right. Megan, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ricky?
Well, speaking on Parks and Recreation, and I'm with Megan, and I hope soon we'll be able to get the parks and the leagues back up. But right now, you know, we still need to be concerned about the health issues that we're facing out there, and hopefully, again, we can have a meeting next month. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mary Claire?
I just want to say a thank you to Greg Wilson and his crew at the sanitation department for taking care of some issues I've called him about, and that's all.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
Yeah, I want to thank all the city departments that got the storm damage cleaned up yesterday afternoon, and Dyersburg Electric for getting everybody's power back on as soon as they did. It looks like we're going to have several more storms. Looks like some later on tonight. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vanetta?
No report.
Okay, thank you. Let me just remind you of some things going on in the community. This week, Thursday, the first Thursday in May is set aside for the National Day of Prayer. We have observed this day for the past 40 years in Dyersburg, Tennessee with the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. It's going to be a little bit different this year. It's going to be online, and I'd like to thank Gary Mead and Neil Chatham and James Levine and those that have agreed to pray. And there's a Facebook page set up for this as well, and I don't have that with me. Neil, do you have that? Are you still here, Neil?
Yes, I'm trying to think. It's something Dyersburg, Dyer County National Day of Prayer. Give me a minute, and I'll look it up on my phone if I can find it before you close.
Okay, I appreciate that. But let me remind you of that event this Thursday morning. It'll be at 7 o'clock. Be online, start at 7 a.m. This Thursday morning for the National Day of Prayer. Let me also let you know that this is Public Service Recognition Week. I just want to thank all the city employees, especially this time and what's been going on in light of COVID-19 and the many weeks of us continuing to take care of the folks in our community, aside from what we're going through right now as well. This is also Teacher Appreciation Week. Those teachers in the city of Dyersburg School System, Miss Lanita, if you're still on here, we appreciate you, appreciate all the teachers for what you do for our kids and taking care of them. A little bit different this year, obviously, but again, we still appreciate what you're doing for our students. And one more thing, today, believe it or not, is the 10-year anniversary of the worst flood in the history of the city of Dyersburg. 10 years ago today, the north fork of the Forkadale River crested at 31.21 feet, which is 9 foot above flood level, which set a new record that previously had been in 1937. It's not a record we want, but hard to believe it's been 10 years ago that this occurred. But still think about all the people that helped out and showed up and did so much to help everybody in South Dyersburg and other parts of the community as well. I mentioned, or I sent the vendor permit, business peddlers, food, mobile food unit information out again, the ordinance that we had some discussion about. I would like to schedule maybe a virtual or a telephone conference call with the committee to discuss this. I think we've talked about it. Would that committee be available this week to discuss this ordinance?
Yes, we can. I can. This is Mary Claire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe Wednesday morning, 9 or 10 o'clock, if we can get that set up, or Thursday morning early?
Thursday might work better.
Okay. Could we do it about 8:30 or 9 o'clock Thursday morning?
8:30 would be awesome.
Is that good with the rest of you?
That's great.
Okay, and everybody did get their copy of that, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, good deal. Local government, I believe. So we'll set that up for Thursday morning at 8:30. I'll send a notice out. And again, I appreciate you. I appreciate allowing us to have this type of meeting so we can still conduct the business of the city. And hopefully soon we'll be back together again. And appreciate everything that you do for the city of Dyersburg. Thank you, and y'all be safe and have a great week.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, John.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
John, I found that it is Dyersburg/Dyer County Day of Prayer. It's on Facebook. It goes live at 7 a.m. Thursday morning.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I appreciate all your help with this year and previous years.
Well, thank y'all for giving us a positive forum to express our concerns, and I
Sure.
support your decision.
Okay. Thank you. Thank y'all. Have a good week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.